So you can see that this algorithm is slightly sublinear, slightly better than the linear space that is required by the BFS and DFS, and it is quite efficient. Polynomial time is considered quite efficient from the perspective of complexity theory. So could this be improved? That is the central question. Can we have a polynomial time algorithm for reachability that requires space which is better than what is provided by the BBRS algorithm? And in this regard, this is the question that we try to answer. So for general graph, obviously this is the best known and there has been no developments, but for grid graph, that is a restricted class of graph, there has been better algorithms are known. So the first such algorithm was presented by Asano and Duer in 2011, who showed that reachability in grid graphs can be solved in approximately root n space and polynomial time. Now this was further improved by Ashida and Nakagawa in 2018, and they improved the space complexity to n to the power 1/3, and there comes our result. We further improved the space complexity to roughly n to the power 1/4. That's so essentially this is our result, that for every epsilon, for every small epsilon, you can select epsilon as small as you want. There exists a polynomial time algorithm that decides reachability in grid graphs using n to the power 1/4 plus epsilon space. Now, one thing more, that we are talking about the directed reachability problem, because undirected reachability problem has been solved in log space by a researcher called Reingold. So we are only interested in the directed reachability problem.
Does the running time depend on epsilon?
Yeah, the running time depends on epsilon. We treat epsilon as constant, so it's.
What is the n? Is the size of the grid, or is
N is the number of vertices in the grid.
the one which have edges, or like the whole?
The number of vertices in the grid graph.
When isolated vertices are counted.
Yeah, but since the reachability in undirected graph can be solved in log space by Reingold, we could just, remove the isolated vertices. They do not have any significance. So, yeah. So let's see how do we solve reachability. So there is an important concept of a separator in a graph. Separator is basically a set of vertices which we remove from the graph. The graph gets divided into roughly half components, or you could say it gets divided into components whose size is a fraction of the original graph. So the algorithm, the first algorithm of root n that solved reachability in root n space used this idea that you divide the graph into the small components, and now what happens is, so if you have such a separator, then any path from a vertex in one of the component to a vertex in other component would necessarily use one of these vertices of a separator. So this is an important property. Now grid graph, the size of the grid graph, in a grid graph it's known that a separator can have order root n size separator would exist in the grid graph. You would basically select the middle row or middle column, and that would act as a separator of the grid graph. So Asano and Duer use this idea how to solve reachability in grid graph using the separator. Basically they use this separator and to divide the graph into components, solve each of the components recursively, and then combine it, and they do it in a space bounded setting. So basically you cannot store each of these components. You have to kind of solve it again and again whenever you require a solution for the smaller components. So that was the initial algorithm by Asano and Duer. So how to improve this solution? So the Ashida and Nakagawa gave an improvement to this algorithm. What they did was, first there was some sort of pre-processing to make the graph smaller. So you have a graph G of n vertices. They pre-processed it so to make a graph G prime of n to the power 2/3 vertices. Now this G prime was not a was not a grid graph. It was a planar graph, but planar graph also had a separator of root and size. So basically what happens is, then the algorithm implicitly does this, is that they find a separator of this n to the power 2 by 3 size graph and then solve it, and use basically the same divide and conquer technique that I previously explained. So that's how they improved the space bound to n to the power 1/3. Let's see how we approach this problem. So what we initially do is we partition the grid graph, original grid graph, into subgrids of size n to the power 1 minus alpha. I'm here taking alpha as some constant, and what we do is we solve these subgrids. By solving the subgrids, I mean that in each of the subgrid we only consider the vertices which are at the boundary, and if they have a path from one vertex at the boundary to the other vertex at the boundary using the vertices of only that subgrid, then we add an edge in this new graph. So we call this graph an auxiliary graph. So I've given an example. I mean, it's quite straightforward how we construct it. So this auxiliary graph will have size root n to the power 1 by 2 plus alpha by 2. So suppose now if this auxiliary graph had a separator of again root n size, we would have got a n to the power 1 by 4, roughly n to the power 1 by 4 algorithm. But unfortunately this does not happen. The subgrid might have a very large separator of root n, not n to the power 1/4.
So the source and target nodes pre-specified?
Yes, the source and target nodes are pre-specified, and we simply assume that they are present in one of the boundaries, because if it is not present on the boundary, it could be taken care of. I mean, it's not much of a big deal. Okay. Yeah, but this smaller grid graph, this auxiliary graph might have a quite large separator. So what do we do this? We first we look at some of the properties that this auxiliary graph might have. One is this, that in this auxiliary graph, if we pick a block of this auxiliary graph and see if these two edges that they cross each other at a certain point, then it is guaranteed that there will be two more edges from the tail of the first edge to the head of the other edge, from the tail of the second edge to the head of the first edge. It is guaranteed, because I mean, if they are crossing it, it would mean that their paths would share a common vertices somewhere in the original graph, and through that vertex those two new paths can be derived. The other observation, which is basically an expansion of this, if suppose a particular edge has been crossed by two edges or say multiple edges, then consider the edge E1, which is closest to the tail of the of this edge F. Then there will exist an edge from the tail of E1 to the head of E2, and this is true if the edge F is being crossed by a multiple edges E1 to EK as well. There will exist an edge from the tail of the lowest edge to every other head of every other edges. Algorithm is basically this. Think of your favorite traversal algorithm. If you know that both these E1 and E2 are reachable from our original vertex S, then you only need to traverse through one of the vertices to the other side of F. This is what our observation is, and this is what we use to solve our reachability problem. So we define a new component, new device called pseudo separator. Now what it does is it's like a separator, but quite not like it. It divides the graph into small components. But now in case of separator, only one thing could be possible, that if there is a path from one component to other component, it would pass through a vertex of the separator. For the pseudo separator, we require that the path would either take a vertex of the separator, or it could cross one of the edges of the pseudo separator. Now once you have such a pseudo separator, you could think of that traversal algorithm. We could simply find a pseudo separator, divide it, and so let's look at any suppose we have any vertex induced subgraph G alpha which has n h vertices. So because we require a pseudo separator of every components as well, we don't only require the pseudo separator of the graph G alpha. We require, once we divide the graph into multiple components, these components are subgraph of G alpha, and we require a we require such a separator for them also. What we prove basically in our result is that such a pseudo separator exists and it can be constructed in a space efficient manner. And this is quite I will briefly comment on how we construct this pseudo separator. What we do basically is we kind of pick a maximal planar graph out of the graph that we have. We pick maximal set of edges which makes the graph planar, and then we find a separator of that maximal set of edges and we tweak it a little bit. It turns out that it would act as a perfectly well pseudo separator. So we find a pseudo separator and our algorithm is simple. We construct a pseudo separator of size of basically roughly root h size, where h is the size of the original thing that we are looking at, and then we divide the graph using pseudo separator. Now to combine this, we first solve each of the components recursively, and then since we talked about that traversal algorithm, that we only require the edge that was closest to the tail of an edge of the pseudo separator. So we traverse using that particular vertex. So I'll briefly restate our contribution. So we basically develop a better algorithm for reachability in grid graph that improves the space bound from n to the power 1 by 3 to n to the power 1 by 4 plus epsilon, where epsilon can be as small as you like. And we also introduce a new device, this pseudo separator. The work lays several open questions. Is that can other classes of graph use this pseudo separator or something similar to pseudo separator, something similar idea to solve the reachability problem? Or why stick to reachability problem? Can we use pseudo separator to solve other problems in a space bounded setting, or probably a different setting? Say perhaps can we solve matching? I'm not sure. I mean, that is what we could look at. And the thing that I am currently looking is, can we improve the reachability for planar graph itself? So currently it's known that planar graph, the reachability can be solved in polynomial time that uses root n log n space. So and see that our algorithm didn't really use the fact that our graph was a grid graph. It just used the fact that we could get this initial auxiliary graph fast. So if we could somehow get this initial auxiliary graph of the planar graph as well, then perhaps we could give a better space bounded algorithm for planar graph. Okay, so these are the references.
Planar graphs, grid graphs, or
No.
strict subset of planar?
So obviously planar graphs are superset of grid graphs, but I mean, so you require an embedding of the grid graph as well, and it can be proven that this specific reachability problem in planar graph can be reduced to grid graph, I mean in log space. However, such a reduction would quite blow up the number of vertices by, I guess, n square or n to the power 4, but so our algorithm wouldn't actually improve. So one way to improve the space complexity of planar graph would be to try and come up a reduction from reachability in planar graph to a reachability in grid graph, such that the number of vertices does not blow up substantially.
This epsilon factor, what is the function of this?
So we need to kind of do this recursive step, right? So we are dividing the graph into small components and then we are recursing over each small components. So we need to make the components small enough so that the depth of recursion is constant. And for that we need to slightly increase the size of the separator. That's what it does.
So what is the function? Where does epsilon appear?
In the time complex, in the space complexity, you know, in time complexity, I guess it was something 1 over epsilon or something like that. But we treat it as constant.
The problem is to find the path or just to answer whether it is reachable, yes or no?
Whether it is reachable, but I think this algorithm could be modified to solve for finding out.
Within some space constraint.
Yeah, same space constraint.
If you had said that the undirected version is already solved and the directed version is open.
Yes.
But undirected graph is trivially, for grid-like graphs, it's trivial that because grid graphs are connected. So the answer is always yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Graph is a connected graph always.
so no, I'm assuming that the vertices are placed on a grid, and the edges are like you could have an edge or you could not have an edge, but the edges can occur.
Of the grid graph.
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, I defined the grid graph in a different.
That's what.
That was not clear. So grid graph doesn't mean that all those edges are there.
No, we don't require that all the edges are there, but the edges can occur only between the adjacent vertices. That's why we are calling it as a.
Put entire graph. Right?
Yeah,
Why is
it's-
all this heavy machinery? So the answer is always yes.
So this is standard.
Yeah. Okay. So, huh? Well, in the earlier works, such a definition was considered. So, perhaps in the other settings, such a different definition is used. In this,
Quite standard for all the shipping.
So I actually
For
got
robot navigation, the other one.
Yeah, so here it's yeah. Other question?
One question. If you just turn that grid into a kind of a torus or something, does this help?
we would have to look into it. I mean, I think it would work, but I think it should work.
Yeah, you can just cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps you could embed this grid on a surface of any genus. I think, but I mean, I have to follow through. I have to see if there is any problem.
also every grid is by the extended definition. Every grid is some kind of hypercube. Does that help?
I'm not sure.
So that is so it doesn't. I mean, every grid can be embedded on hypercube.
Okay, I'm not sure if that would help. So we tried solving it for 3-dimensional grid graph, but it didn't have this property that if two edges are crossing each other, then there would be an edge from tail to head of other. So 3-dimensional grid.
So allowing, for example, you are allowing edges between any two bodies of the grid, even at distance 2.
No. We were using this auxiliary graph, right? That we.
So yeah. All right.